Not preparing enough could leave small towns struggling to keep up. 6 hikers are safe after being trapped in the Bridger Mountains through a snowstorm overnight, with stops planned for Conrad and Valier. Well, the battle over funding for United States Postal Services continues. Also, a major construction project near Helena is impacting area businesses, and a winning lottery ticket has been sold but not claimed in Great Falls. For those heading out to attend that talent show, though, it may be windy conditions.
Yeah, hold on to your hats.
That's right, Katie. It's going to be a very crowded primary for the governor's seat. So tonight, 6 Republicans, 2 Democrats, and a Libertarian candidate aim to set themselves apart. Joining me to talk a little bit about the event is Cascade County Farm Bureau President Jim Pribble. I'm here in New York City nearly a decade after the attacks on the World Trade Center shook the nation. The owner was telling me earlier that they have not had any problems since it started on Friday. Some of the oldest formations in this cave have taken 2 to 3 million years to form. Residents decided to take matters into their own hands, not just by replacing park equipment, but with an even bigger project.
I don't want that for my grandbabies, and I want that for my neighbors.
Paul Byers moved from California 14 years ago, he says, to get away from a meth problem. But it seems he hasn't moved far enough.
I got 2 grandbabies in the house, and I got a meth lab in our dumpster, not even a half a block away.
He was stopped Friday night trying to take out his trash and was told there were substances consistent with the meth lab found in a dumpster behind his house.
They said that there's some chemicals in there.
Those chemicals are still under investigation, but suspect David Taylor reportedly admitted to police he had purchased pseudoephedrine for the purpose of making meth and said he kept other items like fuel, fertilizer, salt, and plastic tubing in his home for the same reason.
Everything you can imagine can come out of a meth lab.
Edwards says there's currently not an airborne threat, but says the danger comes if the chemicals were to mix together.
A lot of this stuff is everyday household stuff. But here's the problem, is when you start mixing these chemicals together, they give off extremely deadly gas, explosive potential, fire hazards.
Cascade County Sheriff's deputies, police officers, and the Central Montana Drug Task Force have been working the case since late Friday night, and they still have a long way to go before the area can be completely cleared.
We will probably be here until minimum midnight tonight.
Sheriff Edwards says a mess like this could cost from $2,000 all the way to $10,000 to clean up. Luckily, the Drug Enforcement Administration is taking on that cost. In Black Eagle, Kay Rossi for Montana's news station.
If he was doing this in Rhode Island, we probably wouldn't cover it.
Erecting handmade billboards in each of Montana's 56 counties and traveling 3,500 miles across Big Sky Country to do it is no easy task.
You're cheap is what I call it.
Well, you call it what you want, but
Yeah.
I've been called that.
Yeah.
Or you could call it broke.
That's what sparked the interest of CBS feature correspondent Steve Hartman.
We heard that there was a guy running for governor who was putting billboards up in every county in the state. And this is not a small state. I'm not sure if you're aware of that. It's a very large state.
Campaigning in the Treasure State usually means a lot of travel, but Republican Jim O'Hara says what he's doing requires a lot more work.
The artwork is between 10 and 20 hours per billboard, depending on the billboard or on the courthouse. Some of them are a little more intricate. And then I had to physically put the poles in the ground.
O'Hara says he's thrilled to have his story air nationally and hopes it gets Montana voters interested in his message.
I believe what the voters should get out of this is that our courthouses are the foundation of government. They belong to the people. Our government belongs to the people.
But whether the extra attention will get him to the governor's seat,
He's going to have to prove to people that he's the man for the job.
that has yet to be determined. Do you think being on national television will give you any sort of a leg up in the race?
It can't hurt.
Near Ulm, Kay Rossi for Montana's news station. The big swell in the senior population is expected to happen by the year 2025. At that time, an estimated 1 in 4 Montanans will be over the age of 65. However, the increases are already starting, and they're having a big impact on the healthcare industry.
There you go.
A pelvic injury 2 months ago forced 91-year-old Kitty Brond off her feet.
I fell down like 1 out of 3 adults do every year.
Thanks to help from several healthcare workers at Missouri River Care and Rehabilitation, she's now able to stand again.
It was so wonderful to be able to stand up again.
State statistics show that Kitty is just one of more than 200,000 seniors, all of whom could need healthcare services, and that number continues to grow.
In Montana, 35 people are turning 65 years old every day.
Many factors are contributing to the larger population group, including advances in medical technology.
We have better treatments for cancer. We have better treatments for diabetes.
Missouri River Care has expanded its facility to meet the growing need. In the last 3 years, the rehab center alone has gone from 22 beds to 62 private rooms.
The demand of it is so much greater. Skilled nursing homes just aren't for end-of-life population any longer.
With the increased need for healthcare services comes a need for more healthcare workers, which was good news for both Marnie Reisenauer and Jessica Hendricks, who recently entered the job market.
I've gotten several recruiter calls about positions available across the United States.
I get calls probably at least once or twice a day with people calling me saying, hey, I've got travel positions all over the country.
Rung says right now the state isn't having a hard time recruiting healthcare workers, but that could change as the rest of the country's aging population also continues to rise.
In the future, it could be that we have to be more competitive with the larger areas, and that's always going to be a challenge.
For Kitty, adequate healthcare services were crucial to her recovery.
We are very, very lucky to have this therapy.
I'll continue this series next week with a look at how the state's increasing senior population could affect housing. On special assignment, Kay Rossi for Montana's news station.